Tani Rabbi Iva Bar Nagre. You see that? Where is that? Fourth middle wide line. This is an extremely long blot. Okay, we'll see how far we can get today. Tani Rabbi Iva Bar Nagre Kumi Rabbi Law. Our old friend Rabbi Law. He hasn't been with us for a while. So Rabbi Iva Bar Nagre said in front of Rabbi Law. The Rabbi Shmuel learns. Dimgol Yigal Ishmi Ma'asrocha Mishiso Yosef Olav. If you redeem Ma'aser Sheni, you add a fifth. This excludes the crop of the fourth year. Which you're not chayav to add a fifth. That was one way he learned. Then he changed his mind. He learned in front of him in the following drasha. There are two redemptions. It says Goal, Yigal, two times, whatever the language is. Achas and Ma'aser Sheni, V'achas and Ma'aser Ravai. There's taka two redemptions, one for Ma'aser Sheni, one for Neter Ravai, and it seems that they're both similar. Talmud, we looked over there. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer. It's important to remember the name Rabbi Yehuda because it's going to come up again several times. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, a guy who grows a vineyard, it doesn't have a concept of Kerem Ravai. Well, Chachamim argue.
Well, you think it's in the land,
Don't worry, you're right. It is strange. Just admit it. I'm Rabbi Lezer said, "Whoa, slow down. That's strange." Kini mas nisa. This is the way to read the brisa. Ein l'nochri kerem ravai. There is no nochri is no kerem ravai. Says the Gra, changing the next words. Besuria. Where's the no kerem ravai? Only in Syria. But Eretz Yisrael, of course, the guy has kerem ravai. Okay, so it was strange. Rabbi Amar Kumi Rabbi Zir B'Shem Rabbi Lezer. Asid Rabbi Yehuda K'Bei Shammai. Rabbi Yehuda is similar to Beit Shammai in our Mishnah. Also, Al Daited the Rebbe's explaining. I don't think it's Rebbe Mamish. One of these Rabbi here, Rabbi Lezer. That Kamada Beit Shammai and Rololom doing the Neter Avai Eli Ma'aser Sheni. Beit Shammai said our Mishnah when extrapolates Neter Avai from Ma'aser Sheni. Kamada Tamar a Ma'aser Sheni b'Shvius. And just like you say, there's no Ma'aser Sheni during the Shemitah year, the Kavos is similarly a Neter Avai b'Shvius. There's no Neter Avai in the Shemitah year. Cain, so too, just like Beit Shammai said that, Rabbi Yehuda says, Lo the Neter Avai Ma'aser Sheni. You also only learn Neter Avai from Ma'aser Sheni. Do you have these words? Kamada Tamar Ma'aser Sheni b'Suria? Brackets?
There's a whole line that that's brackets.
No brackets. Okay. Kamada Tamar Ein Ma'aser Sheni b'Suria. Just like we say there's no Ma'aser Sheni in Surya, the Kavosah Ein Neter Avai b'Suria, so there's no Neter Avai in Surya. Right? Yeah. Because later on, so the same thing. Okay? Look what it says. I don't like what you're saying, in other words. He only said that there's no chomesh and no biur. The Rabbi Zira said that according to Neter, there's no comparison. Beit Shammai said there's no Neter Avai in Shvius, meaning only that it does that which. Well, let me start that sentence over again. That Beit Shammai says no Neter Avai in Shvius only means there's no biur, meaning you don't have to get rid of it all. And you don't have to add a chomesh. But the concept of Neter Avai does exist, and you have to take it up to Yerushalmi or redeem it and take the money up to Yerushalmi. He did there. So he said again. He says, "Lo mar ela ein lo chomesh ve'en lo biur." Or shakol dvar, but everything else, yes, it has even during Shemitah. Right, period. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Ein lo nochri Neter Avai b'Suria." A guy does not have Neter Avai in Syria. Shmuel bar Abba, Shmuel bar Abba asked, Beit Shammai, didn't Beit Shammai say, Lo lamdu Neter Avai Eli Ma'aser Sheni? We learned Neter Avai from Ma'aser Sheni. Kamada Tamar Ma'aser Sheni. Just like you said, there's no Ma'aser Sheni The Shvi'is in the Shemitah year, with the Kavasa in Neteravai b'Shvi'is, so too there's no Neteravai in the Shemitah year. With the Kavasa, well, if that's the case. Similarly, Shlishis Shishis, the third and sixth year, However, Ma'aser Sheni, there's no Ma'aser Sheni in those years. Below Yem Neteravai, let there not be Neteravai in those years as well. Right? Rabbi Yossi, Shlishis v'Shlishis, Ava Pi Sheba Ma'aser Sheni, even though there's no Ma'aser Sheni, Yesh Bohan Masros. Right? The concept of Ma'aser applies, meaning Ma'aser Ani. In Shemitah, there's nothing whatsoever. Shvi is saying, Lo Ma'aser Kol Yikar. See on the statement, Shemitah is not compulsory, nothing at all. Chayfa Shah, Chayfa asked, so it's the name of a sage. Ha Rabbi Yehuda Amar Lo do Neteravai Elam Ma'aser Sheni. Rabbi Yehuda say you don't learn Neteravai from Ma'aser Sheni. Kimad say Ma'aser Sheni b'Syria. Just like you said, there's no Ma'aser Sheni in Syria. The Kavasa similarly ain't Neteravai b'Syria. There's no Neteravai in Syria. The Kavasa, well, if you make such inferences, let's make the following inference as well, which is totally out of left field. The Kavasa similarly, Lo Lamdu Trumas, it should be Todah. We know that we learned that the shiur of Truma by Todah, the amount of the 40 loads which go to a Kohen, is Elami Trumas Ma'aser, is learned out from Trumas Ma'aser, that it's 1 out of 10. And 1 out of 10 goes to the Kohen. Combined Taimei Trumas Ma'aser by Midbar, if that's the case, let's say, just like there was no Trumas Ma'aser in the desert, the Kavasa, so too, Lo Tiet Trumas Todah by Midbar. Let's say whenever they brought a Todah in the Mishkan, in the Midbar, there was no Trumas Ma'aser, Trumas Todah. The Kohen wouldn't get any of it. Rabbi Yosef said no. Lo lamdu mimeno el l'shurim. The only comparison drawn between Trumas Ma'aser and Trumas Todah is only for the shiur of a tenth, not for anything else. Okay? Rabbi Tani, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda said, Amar is taken out. Do you have Amar in parentheses as well? Okay, he takes out Amar. Fine, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, not sure why it's such a big deal. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon, Oimer, they both said, Lo Yischai V'Sol B'Neteravai. The Jews are not chayav in Neteravai el lachar arba'aseh shechol shana shekavshu v'shol sheva achar arba'aseh shana, after 14 years after they entered the land of Israel. Why it says sheva shekivshu for 7 years they were conquering the land, the sheva shekivshu 7 years dividing up the land. During that time they're not chayav in Ma'aser Sheni, nor by extension Neteravai. On Rav Chisda asked Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda b'shitas Rabbi Yehuda avui. How Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda said, he said in the same lines as Rabbi Yehuda's father. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Lo Lamdu Neteravai Elei Ma'aser Sheni. Just like Rabbi Yehuda said, we don't learn Neteravai from Ma'aser Sheni, right? So too, combine the same Ma'aser Sheni b'Syria says so, and just like we said as a result, that just like no Ma'aser Sheni in Syria, the Gavas say Neteravai b'Syria, so too there's no Neteravai in Syria. If that's so too, Cain Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, he also says, Lo Lamdu Neteravai Elei Ma'aser Sheni. We learn that Neteravai from Ma'aser Sheni as well. Gemel the Tema in Ma'aser Sheni, Elo La'achar Ba'aser Shana. You know, he said the Ma'aser Sheni did not kick in until 14 years after they conquered the land of Israel. Leikan, the land of Israel. The Kavosah, so to a Neteravai, Elo La'achar Ba'aser Shana. So to Neteravai only applied after 14 years. It's repeating itself. It's not going in circles, it's repeating. Yes. I'm Rabbi Yossi. A long block like this, you figure it must have, what else is it going to do? I'm Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said, V'hu b'shitas, on the contrary, V'hu shitas b'no. It should be, I know it says by you avui. It should be b'shitas b'no. Rabbi Yehuda is going like his son Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda. How so? Because Rabbi Yehuda, the father, is talking about Syria. And Rabbi Yossi, the son, is talking about when they landed the land of Israel. So which came chronologically first? Which issue was raised chronologically first? Obviously entering the land of Israel. So therefore, it's really Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, in whose shita his father Rabbi Yehuda is following. Syria is derived from the 14 years. Vein Abbas Yishar Lumuda Misuria, not vice versa. They don't learn out 14 years from Syria. Period. Ksiv Bashona Chamishis Tochlu Periolo Sif Lachem Gomer. Says on the 50th year after you plant the tree, you should eat its fruit without having to bring Yerushalmi Demon or anything, and it'll add a bracha. Rabbi Yossi Ba'aglio Me'arezakim Boisi Peros Chamishis Al Peros Revis. There's a logic ramification of this passage, which means that Peros Chamishis are like Peros Revis. Well, the opposite way. Peros Revius are like Peros Chamishis, meaning my Peros Chamishis is just like the stuff which goes in 50 years belongs to the owner. Our Peros Revius, the balance so to the stuff which goes in 40 years to the owner, and it's not what? What? No, it is not the Revai, but it's not Mammon Gavoa. It doesn't belong to Hashem, it belongs to Him. You do. But you can be Makadosh and Isha with it. That's what he's saying. Okay, it's not a present which came from Hashem. It's yours. It just has a din. You have to redeem it. Okay?
And you could spend it anyway. You don't have to.
Well, you have to spend Yerushalayim, but you can spend anything you want. Rabbi Zir, right. Yeah. Rabbi Zira and Rabbi Yasa. B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan said, "Asa Rabbi Yosef like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef is like Rabbi Yehuda. Kamar Rabbi Yehuda Omer also sokin achasov." This is what Rabbi Yehuda says by Ma'aser Sheni. That's your property. You can be mekadosh with it. Kain Rabbi Yosef also sokin achasov. He also makes it your property by netter avai as well. Okay. Rabbi Yirmi boy clear Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Yirmi asked for Rabbi Zira. Kedim mishuay so kinachosam. If it's like your property, maushi chayv ma'aser. So maybe a chayv ma'aser. Maybe netter avai itself is chayv ma'aser since you own it. It's chayv ma'aser. Amar Leis, they said no. Kai Dama Rabbi Shimon Levi da list like Rabbi Shimon Levi Dam Rabbi Abishim Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Ma lo sof davar halachazu. It's not the end of the process to declare halacha or determine halacha. Rather, halacha she like is be a bit any halacha, which is unclear, literally weak. Based in shirufef is based in, it's weak and based in. Vena te'etem ati, we don't know its qualities. Say, go out and see echat tzibur. No way. What the tzibur is doing, the no can do like that. Okay. And we saw bunches or piles that they're not taking off Ma'aser Sheni from net to Ravai, so it must be that net to Ravai does not generate Ma'aser Sheni. Even if it's your own money, it still doesn't generate the chiyuv of Ma'aser Sheni.
Is that setting a dangerous precedent going out and seeing what the masses are doing?
Why? Because I was supposed to do it.
I'm not.
Right. I don't know. I guess they weren't concerned about the precedent. It's a good question. Okay. So it says the Gemara. All right, Mother. Rabbanan said, "Ilu Amar Beis Shammai." I understand. What does it mean? You're telling me something about Beis Shammai? Ilu here is not quite it, but rather you are. Yeah. You're telling me like Ilu Amar Beis Shammai, V'Tzibur Beis Shammai. Yeah, your question like Beis Shammai, you hold that it's Mammon Gavoa, right? That belongs to Hashem. So that's why you have so you don't give Ma'aser on it. So, so if you're calling Beis Shammai, you want to tell me that to go out and see what the nation does and know what Beis Shammai Shita is? What's the flaw in that argument? Go out in the nation and see what Beis Shammai is doing. What's the flaw in that argument? No, better flaw than that. You don't follow Beis Shammai. So what's he was going to do with Beis Shammai? Where is he supposed to look? That's what the Gemara says here. Yetzibur Beis Shammai. So Yetzibur goes to Beis Shammai. They can go find out from them. There's no way of finding out from them because nobody to observe. Rabbi Avin. Rabbi Avin said, "Klum lo manu netavayel Ma'aser Sheni." You only let that divide from Ma'aser Sheni. K'mad T'emei Ma'aser Sheni Chayiv Ma'aser. It's just like Ma'aser Sheni itself is exempt from Ma'aser. Udekavos, so too a Neter Vayim Chayiv Ma'aser. Neter Vayim is also exempt from Ma'aser. Rabbi Bon, Rabbi Chia, B'Shem B'Yachol said, Isas Ma'aser Sheni B'Yerushalayim K'Rab Meir. When you have a dough of Ma'aser Sheni dough in Yerushalayim, so then Rabbi Meir, Kashita Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Meir, Bolter Mechal, it's exempt from Chala. Why? Because he holds that the chiyuv of Ma'aser Sheni is the same. The concept of Ma'aser Sheni in Yerushalayim uproots any other chiyuv, and therefore there's no chiyuv Chala, right? Rabbi Yehuda, how like Yehuda holds that Ma'aser Sheni stuff, even while it's being needed, is still your money. So then chayav it's b'chala, you are chayav in chala as well. Rabbi Yerushalayim, that's only Yerushalayim. But outside Yerushalayim, it's everybody reads it's not your money. Why? Because it only becomes your money or your parents when it comes to Yerushalayim, not when it's still outside Yerushalayim. Was that clear? What? It's Hashem's. It's not redeemed yet. It's not spent yet. Better word. It's not spent, so therefore it belongs to Hashem. So that's for outside Yerushalayim. It's still not your money according to everybody. Only one sent to Yerushalayim does it become your money. Okay, that's what he says here. Right, Boba Kohen Boykun Rabbi Yossi asked for Rabbi Yossi. According to the opinion in the Mishnah, expressed by Bishami, that when you have Karamavaya on the tree, you have to leave parrot and shikha, parrot and olos. Mao shetei chayav some according to maybe Taka is chayav and chala, because you see that Daniyim has special dibs, and maybe there are other special dibs and requirements such like. Unless he said, "V'lo Rabbi Yehuda," could be that would still be like Rabbi Yehuda, or we don't pass him like. Yeah, I think that's what it means. And it's possible in this entire Mishnah that Rabbi Yehuda coming out of Beis Shammai, and therefore he holds that it has a special halacha, the Ma'aser Sheni, that it has certain degrees of kedusha to it. Well, actually, it doesn't have to wait. Our mayor's word says. No, the exact opposite. That he holds that Ma'aser Sheni is chayiv and chala, and so too Neter Vayim is chayiv and chala. That's what the Rashi Oleo says. That the Chachamim, Rabbi Yehuda. Let me reconstruct that. Rabbi Rabbanan Beis Shammai holds that your field is chayiv and Neter Vayim during Shemitah. Okay, there is Neter Vayim during Shemitah, so therefore it must hold like Rabbi. Like Rabbi Boba Kohen has it for Rabbi Yossi, that it should be exempt from chala. I'm not following my own Mishnah here. Well, that was in the Mishnah. Machlokas said Chaim in the Shmei Torah.
Just a day when.
Okay, this is the way to read it. Let's see again 4 lines from the end of the Gemara. Baba Kohen Boy Kohen Rabbi Yosef. Different Mishnah 3 lines. 2 lines maybe by you. What? Baba Kohen Boy Kohen Rabbi Yosef. Not Ray Bar here, Ray Bar Kohen. You have that? 2 lines, right? Okay, Baba Kohen. Boy Kohen Yosef. As for Rabbi Yosef, different Mishnah Mechayev Beperet. According to people, you Chayev Beperet. In Netervai, Mausha Techev Zebcha, Pashas Yuchayev and Chala. Normally they said no. V'lo Rabbi Yehuda, all our discussions are according to Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's mom and hediot, right? So, Sarvi Meimer called the Hilchos of Rabbi Yehuda K'Bei Shammai. Even though we already said it's possible Rabbi Yehuda and Beit Shammai go together. That you're chayiv in Ma'aser Sheni, you're chayiv in Shemitah, in everything other than biur and in Chomesh, right? So it's just biur and Chomesh which we learn to preclude during Shemitah. So therefore, whatever halacha we apply to Rabbi Yehuda, we're going to apply to Beit Shammai as well. I still don't know how to read it exactly. I still don't know how to read it. Rabbi Yehuda is mechayev you in. I don't know why I would throw in Beit Shammai. Rabbi Yehuda is mechayev you in Ma'aser Sheni. He holds up Ma'aser Sheni as mom and hediot. So the Pashas is he's going to be mechayev you in Chala. So what do we do? The comparison between Rabbi Yehuda and Beit Shammai eludes me. I guess what we're saying is that Beit Shammai would hold the same thing, that you're chayiv and Ma'aser Sheni by in Chala and Ma'aser Sheni as well. I don't know what he's adding and saying that Rabbi is going to Beit Shammai. It's not clear to me. You understand what I'm asking? I understand Rabbi Yehuda is Tama, so I hold that Ma'aser Sheni is Momon Hediot. So the same thing would be about Neter Avai, because he learns everything Ma'aser Sheni. So we know it's possible that Beit Shammai learns according to Beit Shammai. Also that we learn everything out from Ma'aser Sheni. But at least in one thing he doesn't know, he learned Ma'aser Sheni, because in Shemitah he holds that you do have a din of Neter Avai, it just doesn't have to be redeemed. So I don't know exactly what the comparison is. We're making some sort of comparison though. Okay, that's enough for us to know. We can go further. We're calling time. Keita put in Neter Avai. How do you redeem that Neter Avai? You put a coin down on in front of 3 people. Say, how much would you like to buy? You know what I mean? Even though it says liftos, how much would you guys want to buy with a seller of fruit on the ground? I'm not so to anticipate so that you should pay for the expenses for uprooting it and harvesting, etc., etc. So once you get that money, you leave them. And once you determine the amount of money, you leave them. Say anything which I'm going to gather from my field, Mechul is redeemed on this coin. Okay? On these coins. Meaning sold so many baskets for a seller. However, now naturally these guys will tell you something with a deduction for labor. Because were they to buy the fruit from you now, they'd have to do the labor of harvesting, right? So they're going to deduct for that. At Shemitah we don't deduct for that, because at Shemitah harvesting is not a valuable activity, because you can't hire anybody to harvest, right? So therefore at Shemitah you don't deduct for that part. Okay, B'Shviz Podei B'Shavi you go by its value. And if everything is hefker as well, then the only thing you can charge for is the charge for gathering. Hapaida neter. No, it's the only charge you can take against your opinion is the charge for gathering. Hapaida neter vai shelo. Somebody redeems his own neter vai. Moisel of chamisha. So he adds on it a fifth. Beit shelo beit shnida until whether it says was given to him as a present. Period. New topic altogether. Erev Yontif Rishon Shel Revis. The Erev Yontif Rishon Shel Pesach Shel Revis. The first day, right before Pesach begins, in the 4th year of Shel Shvis and the 7th year, Hayapir. You got to get rid of all the Trumas and Maisos in the past years at your house, give them to the proper place. Ketzad. Now, so Ketzad Hayapir. How did this beer work? Noisim Trumas Maisos Lebalei. You give Truma and Trumas Maisos to the Kohanim. U'Maiser Rish Lebalei to the Lebalei. U'Maiser Rish to the Levim. U'Maiser Oni Lebalei. Maiser Oni to the poor people. Maiser Sheni V'Abikurim. Let's say you don't have enough time to take oil to Yerushalayim. Then the Maiser Sheni Bikurim you have Mizbarim B'chol Makam. You let them rot wherever they are. That's what the call to biur is. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Bikurim. Noistim lako Kohanim kitruma. Rabbi Shimon holds that Bikurim is special. Then you can even give the Kohanim outside the Beit Hamikdash, outside the walls of the Mishkan. Hatavshu. What about if you have a cooked dish of stuff which is Meiser and it's the 3rd year, right? And you have to eradicate it, or if Pesach the 4th year. Yerushalmi Tzolavar, you have to bevar the cooked dish. For the fact that it's already cooked is as if it's mevor. Mishul Pelus Bisman Azev, some have fruit in our day and age. V'yiger Shas Abira, and this time of beer came. Ve'shamrim to Chalon Kessi, still have to redeem them on money. And then he throw the money into Yam HaMelech. He destroy the money. Ve'somrim, I don't understand why he goes through that exercise of futility. Echot she'ein kesef, echot she'ein pei, asur, Beisel Omrim, echot she'ein kesef, echot she'ein melmos, and that makes no difference. The bottom line is that, in all cases, you let it rot, but you can also let the original fruit rot. You don't have to redeem it first. Did I say most? Echot Peros, sorry. Okay, says more. Lisa, are you cold, Dr. Spiel?
No.
I don't like to open that.
It's fine. There's no haircut. What?
You cold?
I'm cold in my jacket. I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, leave the slow basela. As I said in the mission, when it says to redeem for a seller, means likach lo basela. These 3 guys were buying for a seller. What does it mean? In Shemitah you can only charge for gathering, and not really gathering, but cut it, snipping off the tree, not true harvesting. Rabbi Yoshem Afi Klossen is to nansin. We'll take 3 experts. Mafarik up here and do the redemption based on Pumon, based on what they said. Ksiv, it says, Miksei Shol Shonim Totzos Kom Asar Tvoscha. At the end of 3 years, you should move all the mice of your grain. Bashana in that year, you gotta put it in your gateway. It's a yochel pa'machas b'shavua. Maybe only once in a shemitah on chayiv lotzi, you have to take it out. As a ma'aser lotzi, it's a ma'aser ani. The ma'aser ani. Tam lo mitzei shol shonim. No, it says the end of 3 years. Meaning achas l'shol shonim once every 3 years. That's 2nd and 6th year. V'lo achas l'sheva. And not once every 7. El b'shviz to rather than the 3rd and 7th year, shnei b'am b'shua, twice in a 7-year period. Now here the Rashi throws in a whole long pasuk. I'll read it to you outside. You don't have it. B'sharecha, in your gates, it says, right? B'sharecha, it says, right? Uksivi, and the other one it says, Ki sechala la'aser koltumat v'amasart v'oscha b'shana shlishish nasa ma'aser. When you finish your harvest of giving all the harvest. Mata mulomar. What does it mean? What's the Meister talking about when you finish all the harvest? What's that throwing in? So it says the Gemara, Yochel came in Rosh Hashanah. Ein chayev ad chayev levar. So Ma'aser. Maybe we'll say Rosh Hashanah of the third year. Right? Kavan Rosh Hashanah means usually since, but here on Rosh Hashanah of the third year you have to be Mevar. Es ha-Ma'aser the Ma'aser. Loti Ma'aser take out Ma'aser honey. No, Tamlar Miktei Shol Shonim at the end of the third year, not the Rosh Hashanah of the third year. Ein Miktei Elibisov Shana at Mevar at the end of the year do beer. Vein at Mevar but Rosh Hashanah you don't do beer at the beginning of the Rosh Hashanah. Ibisov Shana it's at the end of the year. Yochol Kivin b'Rosh Hashanah Achayil Varsa Ma'aser. Maybe he meant the beginning of the fourth year chayiv to eradicate the Ma'aser. Loti Ma'aser honey. And they remove the Ma'aser honey only in the fourth year, not in the third year. That's why it says Kisachal, let's call at the end of the fourth year. Tamuloma Kisachal Laser is called Voscha when you begin, when you cease being Ma'aser all your grain. When you finish redeeming all the crop, the farm made that year, so then you have to do the biur. Even if it's in the fourth year, but you don't wait till the end of the year. If you're saying that it goes by when you finish doing all the fruit, maybe it's also in Chanukah that you do the biur, right? Which comes somewhat early, means you did a diligent cleanup. No. It says here, at the end of 70 years, you make Shemitah. Shemitah falls, B'chag and Sukkos, and you make a Chag for Sukkos. Just like the Miketz, which it says over there, it's talking about the Yotav of Sukkos. So to the Miketz, it says over here by the biur. So Avkam b'Chag Sukkos going by Sukkos as well. Maybe you would say it's actually a kashin. Mami Geshem b'Chag Sukkos Avkam b'Chag Sukkos. Tamo lo makisa chaletz kol aser. It's kol ma'asar tfuos. You're only chayiv to be to biur once you finishing Ma'aser your Ma'aser. Ein masay mechal aser es kol aperos. When you finish doing Ma'aser on all fruit which grew in the third year, but Pesach Sharavias on Pesach of the next year. So what does that teach us? What does it mean we're supposed to eradicate in the third year? After you finish taking off all the Ma'aser on the third year, that means when do you do the biur? In the fourth year. What part of the fourth year? When all the Ma'aser are taken off. When's the first time that's available? Right after Pesach. B'shani atzog l'varo, that's what you have to do. Biur. Vein atzog l'varo, and you have to do biur. B'shar kol hashonim. You don't have to do any biur in any other rest of the year. The rest of the Shemitah cycle. But Shana Yadzok Levar, Veina Dzok Levar Yerek Shetzim Rosh Hashanah Ad Pesach. That year, you're chayav to eradicate. Now you're chayav to eradicate the third year's crops, which are Ma'asering now. By anything which grew from the third year in the fourth year, since it began after Rosh Hashanah, you're not chayav in Ma'asers, right? What? Because by Pesach everything is gathered in. Or the winter crop, right? That's why we have the, Ksir Oimer. Because that's when people are ready to eat it. Sorry. No Tu B'Shvat. Rosh Hashanah Li'Ilanos, not for Zroim. Not for Zroim. Okay. Says the Gemara, Chevraya said, She'eno mizvada. You know why you can't? There's a special incantation you say when you bring the Biarta Kushma Bais and Parshal Kisava. You can't say that, and here's another typo, B'Shlishis in the third year, Elo B'Revi'is. El B'Chamishis. You have to say in the fourth year. Right? Again. Kavayim Hashem is vada b'shlishis elabel revius. Omar Yilar said she'ein miyakeh you know what, that might be better to do it in the 4th year, but in the 3rd year it's not an impediment. And again, it says here, vidui, a vidui of the Ma'aser can be done in the 3rd year. Let's say, you can change the change here too. The Rashi, let's say, it says the Sheni Ma'akev revies. You don't have to do dafka during the 3rd year. 4th year. Shlish do the 3rd year as well. The bottom line is, what's interesting in these 2 opinions? If you did it in the 3rd year erroneously, according to the members of the Beis Medrash, possible. It doesn't work because you have to dafka do the vidui in the 4th year. I'll die to Rabbi Hila, or Rabbi Hila, but the evidence okay, even if it's done in the 3rd year. Okay. What? You have to do the vidui over again next year. Yeah. But I'll die to B'Shonai in that year at Motzio Minatome Al Hator. Since you're in a rush to take care of all your Ma'asers, when you're doing the Biyur Ma'aser in that time, right before Pesach of the 4th year, you're allowed even to take Ma'aser from Tomei on Tohar. You can't take Ma'aser from Tomei off of Tohar the rest of the years of the cycle. All right, Rabbi Lezer says, Kini Masi is the way to read this Mishnah Brisa. Ba'ashana yad motzio mimokum tumah l'mokum ta'ara. And if between the 3rd and 4th year, you can take it through a Tomei place to a Torah place. And any other year, you can't take your Trumas and Ma'aser to a place where it's off limits to a Kohanim, through a place where it's limits to anyone other Kohanim, to a place where everybody else has access. For instance, through a Beit HaKvaros. Right? The Beit HaKvaros, Kohen's not allowed in the Beit HaKvaros. So the shaila is whether you can take the Truma to the Beit HaKvaros or not. So you say on Shemitah, yes, but not the rest of the year. And we're going to explain that. Okay? Ask the Rabbi Lezer, command Rabbi Lezer, who is clearly holding that you don't take Ma'aser out for Kohanim. You don't give Ma'aser Rishon to Kohanim. No, sir. Necessarily. I don't give Ma'aser Rishon necessarily to Kohanim because here he's suggesting that you go make it accessible only those who can traverse a cemetery. Who people can traverse a cemetery? Only Vim, not Kohanim. Kohanim are not allowed to do so. So he must hold that you don't give the Ma'aser to the Kohanim. Now, why is that? What's the chiddush? I have to give Ma'aser to the Levim. So there's a Gzeira, which is brought down here as well, which they made since none of the Levim were Zionists, and none of them came up with Ezra.
I'm going to tell you something.
All right, on that happy note, moving right along. So, again, no, it's not. It's stupid. When Ezra came up to Eretz Yisrael, there were no Levite Zionists, there were no Dr. Spidels around. They all stayed in Bavel, right? So Ezra made a knas that no Levim should get Ma'aser again. You're both familiar with that knas, right? Not familiar with that? No, Ezra made a knas. Yeah, we mentioned it. It's in the Bavli a couple of times. Ezra made a knas that only the Levim don't get Ma'aser anymore. Only Kohanim. So only Kohanim get. So if this is going to be a source actually of friction in our Gemara, whether that's true or not true. So whether that Gzeira remained or didn't remain. So what he's saying is the Gzeira clearly did not remain, because he's saying there's a way to bar Kohanim from getting Ma'aser Rishon. Take it through a Tomei place, right? So we see that Kohanim don't have to be the ones to get the Ma'aser Rishon. Is that clear? Right? Okay. So now we have a Ma'aser respect. But this is very late. He's already in Amoyra, right? Bikshuli Mona Shloite Ma'aser Lakuna. way after the Churban, 200 years after the Churban. So they wanted to say, we're not going to give Meiser anymore, just to Kohanim. And they said, Man Yehu, who's going to go and prove it? Rabbi Shimon Levi, guess what he was? Levi. The Messiah Levi, he's going to help out the Levim. Oh, the Sielu Kohanim, Achutzbe, he went in and helped the Kohanim. He said, this is also the Bavli. In 24 places, the Kohanim are called Levim. There's one of them, Kohanim are Levim, but they saw though. So Kohanim can get the truth of Ma'aser Rishon. Rabbi Binyamin Bar Gidu and Ravacha Habu Yosmin, they were sitting. They said, as a raya also, that you can give Ma'aser Rishon to the Kohen. The Kohen, the son of Aaron, will be the Levim when the Levim get Ma'aser. So we see that the Kohen get Ma'aser as well. Says Amar, no, it's not a raya. There, it's Lidlin Lo Trumas Ma'aser. He wasn't getting the Ma'aser with the Levim. He was standing by the Levim, so the Levim should give him what? They should give him their Trumas Ma'aser. It wasn't for him to get the Trum of the Ma'aser itself. Vaksiv Dai doesn't say Valevim Yalu Es. And here's the typo, which we Maser HaMaser. Levim will give in the Ma'aser on the Ma'aser. So it sounds like the Reish is talking about that the Kohanim are getting the actual Ma'aser, not just the Trumas Ma'aser. Rav Huna, Rav Chevraya, Huna and the Chevche. One of them said, Libnei Levi, says the children of Levi. Mata Mulomar Vilivnei, not just Livnei, but with a vav, Vilivnei. And let me contrast in my Seguna, it's linking the Kohen to Levim, just like the mice could be given Levim, they're giving it to Kohanim as well. The other one said, even wouldn't have had the vav achibur between the Kohanim and Levim. You'll still be nice to the Ma'aser Kohanim. You can still get Ma'aser Kohanim. Why? If a guy says in his will, my son Yankel, Yesem Mekambas Poland, he should take before Shmerel, the rest of my property, you should my children should inherit. You think Dimalo Nasa Vimo, you don't think Yankel doesn't get with the rest of the children? He gets icing on the cake, he gets on top, but he gets with everybody else as well. Explicitly preclude, right? Okay, Rabbi Yonah Yoel Masroi, Rabbi Yonah give us Ma'aser Ravacha Barula to Ravacha Barula. The truth is Ravacha Barula was a Kohen. But Lo Mishum Dav Kohen, didn't give it to him because he was a Kohen, Elo Mishum de Loi Vel Raisa. Because he learned Teige. My time, what Pasuk teaches us this. Vayor Milam Yesh Yerushalmi, it says the nation to those who dwell in Yerushalayim, Lo Seis Menasa Kohanim Alevim, to give the portion of the Kohanim Alevim, Leman Yes Chesku B'Teres Hashem, so they hold on to the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so they have to give the Ma'aser to people who are learning. Rav Huna, albeit he was a Kohen, Lo Nasa Ma'aser, will not take Ma'aser. Rav Acha Lo Nasa Ma'aser, Rav Acha didn't take Ma'aser. Rav Chia Barabba, Hore al Gamela Tzeis L'chutz L'oretz. He was a Kohen. He could have taken Ma'aser. He didn't want to. How could they count that even though he was impoverished? He rather went to Chutz L'oretz to make a living than to stay in Eretz Yisrael and take Ma'aser. Amazing concept. We don't have such concepts nowadays. Shol B'anash. We'll take what we can get. Shol B'anash. That's true. Now they go to hell. Yeah. That's only because they're not getting the Ma'aser. Shol B'anash. Shol B'anash. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachman. A certain individual. Bar Nash is like Ben Odom. But here it also means the Levi Shleim says he was a Kohen. Shol B'anash. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachman. Am I allowed to take Ma'aser even though I'm only a Kohen and not a Levi? Sure, Rabbi Yona's son Ma'u. The Nasav is so Rav Nachman. Then asked Rabbi Yona's son. So he said, yes, take. That what you're taking came to your shave and never you're entitled. Rabbi Yana used to tell his friends, his relatives. When you sharecrop a land, we're talking about you only sharecrop from a non-Jew. because if you shirk up from a Jew, this family was Kohanim. So then he's going to have to give you the truma and maybe the meiser, and it looks bad. So therefore, only be a sharecropper from a goyim in order that it shouldn't look like you're doing it in order to get the trumas and meisers. Vavagav that Omar ain't nicely meiser l'kuna. However, even if you say that you don't give meiser to the kuna, moed everybody could see it. Shein motzir shlomi yado Kohen does not have to give his own meiser to Levi. He gets to keep it himself. My time, what is that? Why is that? We can't coerce him to give it up, to give it to another Levi. My time, why? Kiti chumeis b'nei Yisrael. You should take from the b'nei Yisrael. It's a ma'aser shenasati lochem. The ma'aser which I gave you, may it from them b'nachlaschem in your inhabitants. And take from that also the Trumas Meiser as well. You can take the Meiser from Yisrael to give it to a Kohen or Levi. But you don't take the Meiser away, and here's also type what should be Miyad. Kuna Levi from people who are Kohen Levi to begin with. Okay, so you can't take it away from them, hypothetically speaking. Vasikai Dam Rabbi Lezer, and it's going like Rabbi Lezer said, where Lezer says, if you take from the Jews the Meiser. Meis b'nei Yisrael moitzi, ve'nam moitzi v'nam goy, take from the Jews and not from the Goyim. It's really not related, but it's similar to previous Gemara, that we're dealing with Goyim, etc., so we bring it down here. Okay? Rabbi Avomar, getting back to the issue before. Rabbi Avomar is Pagan Rabbi Shubach, Chani Rabbi Lazar ben Azai, they had a machlokes. Rabbi Shubach Chani Amar, no, it's the Meiser, look, he can't get Meiser to Kohanim. Rabbi Lazar ben Azai, oh man, he was a Kohen. Ha! Nicely, Meiser, you can't get Meiser to Kohanim. Meiser Rabbi Shubach Chanani Rabbi Lazar ben Azai, Rabbi Shubach Chani Rabbi Lazar ben Azai. V'aksiv le'asei v'chaltu m'so b'chol mo'koim. Says you can eat Meiser everywhere. Can a Kohen come and eat the Meiser in the grave? No, so you can't give it to Kohen. Amar Lo, so he said, no, you're misinterpreting B'chol Makom. What does B'chol Makom mean? Ba'azora, in the Beis HaMikdash, not in a grave. Amar Lo, so B'shum Chanani said, V'oksiv doesn't say, Atem u'beitzchem, you and your household. Sounds like a woman. Bais is a household. Visha nichnes Azora, can a woman go into Azora? So therefore must preclude Kohanim who can't bring their wives into the Azora, so they can't fulfill Kol Makom. Yeah, okay. Well, it's obviously felt that was still a barrier. Rabbi Voava Mishtoy Ayin and Uvda. Rabbi Voava told the following story. They took out their guitars and had their kumzas. This is the story they used to tell over. Rabbi Lezer ben Azariah, the Kohen, have a Yolif Meiser Meiser, used to take Meiser, the Charagina from a certain garden. In that garden had two openings. One which came through a cemetery, and the other which came through a Torah place. Rabbi Kiva went to the master of the garden, and he did not like the fact that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was taking the mice from there. He said to the master of the garden, open the door to the cemetery, stone and close the other one. So guess who can't get in anymore? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. And if Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah comes back, Emorle, tell him, Brother Derech Hazek, coming the other way. Amar Lei, and Rabbi Akiva said, in Shalach Talmidei. And if you send this Talmidim to get the Meiser for him, Emorle, saying to Talmidim, Atem Ksiv, I want you, not your students. Shama, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Omar, he said, Martzod Rabbi Akiva Bolekan. The belt Rabbi Akiva was here. He stymied me in my quest to get the Meisers.
What was Rabbi Akiva's?
He was upset that he felt that it was time to cancel that Gezerah, that only Kohanim get not Levine. It's archaic. Okay? Bosa Shah, at that time, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was a big Baal Musar. Hechzi Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah called Meiser Shenota. Any Meiser ever took, he gave back. Or maybe it's Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar said, to give a mashal for this Maisa is missing. What?
Apart chronologically speaking, not time, they're the same time.
Age-wise. Yeah, but there's no discrimination in the base measure. Rabbi Akiva was among those who were present when they anointed Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah to take over. They didn't take Rabbi Akiva because he was a Ben Gevin. Okay. All right, Yitzhak Elazar said it should be worth missing kos. It should be kos b'sherusa. A cup when it's beginning to be served with. Sherusa means shari. When you open up with it, boy muya. Yeah, you have to keep it full. Saba, the kesa, an older cup, one which has been tabled on the table on the table for a while. Mineu bay. It's whatever it has within it is sufficient. So here too means that either Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah initially used to take the Trumas of Ma'aser, take the Ma'aser's, but eventually he had to come to the conclusion not to do it anymore. There was nothing left to be able to do it because Rabbi Akiva had completely disproven it.
But you didn't give it to a lady.
No, he probably did. It doesn't say it. Similarly, what was Rabbi Akiva's tactic? Why did he burn him like this? Because if you don't burn a guy when he's doing the wrong thing, it ain't going to have an impact on him later on. Okay, what happens if you took bread or oil of Trumas and Ma'aser and put it into a pot of another type of food? You have to be aware of that. Behind of a tavlin, if you took wine and spice which dissipate, shumavur, that if you pour it into another pot, it's like mavur. You don't have to do beer on that substance. Ma'apli, what's the machlokas betavshil, where the cooked dish itself is made out of the fruit of maasros. Bisharin tzor levar, because that's really ma'aser. Bisumrim and tzor levar, because it's not sufficiently chashuv enough. Or they say it's mavur and what you're going to eat it. That's also the beer in this case. Matar the Beis Shammai, what's the Beis Shammai says that you have to redeem the netter of money even though you're going to make it rot later on because it says what can you take in your hand? Only money. Matar the Beis says you don't do that. You let it rot as fruit because I feel mechalo ma'al. It's an exercise of utility to put it on the. It's an exercise of futility to what's my train of thought? Oh yeah, to redeem it outside Yerushalmi, because anyway you're going to throw away the money. There's no place to take it, so therefore might as well just sort of throw away the fruit. Why throw away the good money? Okay, halakha down. Ravina said, initially it's about batim. When the time is going to do beer, they would send messages to Ba'abatim in the outlying districts. Maru, quickly, hiskinu perusechem, take off all your maasros, before the time beer comes. Achabar Rabbi Akiva of Elimet, Rabbi Akiva came paskin, shego peros achlobolon as maasros pturos mina beer. If you do beer and you have grain which hasn't yet been suitable in Ma'aser, that grain waits for its beer for when? For the next 3-year period. So you don't have to rush to take off Ma'asers this year. Even you take off afterwards, so you have 3 years already to worry about it. Okay? Misha Perosa B'chaykim Mimenu. What if the time of the beer came but your fruit was far away from you? You got to designate them. Designate them doesn't just mean designate them as Truma and Ma'aser, etc. Rather, designate them and be makna them to somebody. How so? Very famous Ma'aser. Very famous. Ma'aser and Ami of Askeni. So you buy him in a boat and the time beer Ma'aser came. The tent which I eventually measure as Ma'aser, Nasul Yoshua, is given to the Yoshua, who was a Levi, with the place underneath it. So he gave him the Ma'aser as a what? A Kinyan Agav, meaning through the land. The land is the vehicle of transfer. He gave him the land, and that's how he transferred the grain. Isur Acher, another one, Shani Yasi Lam, which we're going to measure. Nasul Rabbi Akiva, for Rabbi Akiva. She is Kabbalani because he was a Gabbai Tzedakah. And he too was Zochen, even halfway across the globe, by taking a possession, symbolically at least, of the land in which it was. Rabbi Shua said, Isu Shani Osi Lamu Nasul Lazar ben Amazaria. He also added on that a tenth of a tenth. Well, Rabbi Shua, the Levi, said the tenth of my tenth I'm going to give to Elazar ben Azariah, because Elazar ben Azariah was a Kohen, right? And I'm renting him the place which I just acquired from a Gamliel. In order to make this rental place work, so they all exchange money. Because otherwise, in order to make rental place work, you have to take possession of the land, right? By doing something to the land, they were all in a boat. So how do they make sure to take possession of the land halachically? By paying each other off for the land that they were acquiring. Okay? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. Ask more of Lo Teveli. I understand. What's the difference? What's Tanakama's Havamina? That you have to make sure to take off all the Maasros before the Pesach of the fourth year. It's Tevel right now. So what? Who cares? There's no din beer on it yet. Rabbi B'Shem Shmuel says, this teaches us, Tevel Kodesh Tanakama, Tevel is also holy. It has to undergo beer process, albeit by first going through the process of taking off Trumas and Maasros. Amar Rabbi Yehuda said, Ma'aser Gamliel, another Ma'aser the Gamliel. Fast came the old man. This is also brought down in the Bavli in the Sanhedrin. Sheyesh v'Malus Ha'ulam. They're sitting on the steps of the Ulam, Barabais and Arabais, the Temple Mount. And Yochanan, who was the scribe, the secretary, was sitting in front of them. Amrullah, they said to him, "Say, go out and write. Achenu b'nei Galila Ilah, our brothers of the Upper Galilee. B'nei Galila Ta'arisa, of the Lower Galilee. Shlam chon yazkei me, we have much peace. Modad l'chon, we are notifying you. The matas man biur, the time of beer has come. Kafkun masraya min matonis eser, remove all your mices from your olive containers." Then they sent another message, Lachon b'nei Teroima, to our brethren in the south. Ilah, the upper south, of Bnei Drom Harisa, the lower south. Modar l'chon, we let you know. The matas man biur, time of beer has come. Kafkun meiser, and here you take over meiser. They specialize in growing grain. From your grain. Lachon b'nei Galvasa the Bavel, to our brethren in Golus Bavel, ubnei Galvasa the Madai, in the Golus of Media. That's the Golus we're in today, the Golus of the Media. Ubnei Galusa the Diyun, and the Yavan, and the Greek Golus. The Sharkol Gavase in the Israel, and all the other Golus of the Jewish people. Shalom Chon Yaski, you should have much peace. Modan al-Chon, we're letting you know something else. Obviously, there's no beer, there's no Trumas Hamaitzos in further Chutz La'aretz. Rather, we're letting you know the Imraya Rakik and the sheep are young. Because the Layat Akikin and the birds are thin. And there are not enough animals for Korbanos because the spring came too early this year. And was pleasant to me or proper to me and the eyes of my friends that we should do what? That the most foul shata dot plus yomin are going to add to this year 30 days, and that's how they determine a iber your a leap year. Okay, hadamra a nicely meiser lakuna. We see in our Mishnah, since he gave the meiser to the Levi to Shimon Chananya, we see though no longer give meiser rishon to a Levi. Says Gemara, no. Shani, there it's different. Shiur, Rabbi Shimon Chanina Tzaman. Would have been a patch of punning not to give it to Rabbi Shimon Chanina if he's actually there. Rabbi Chanina said, be that as it may, for our mission we say, Hadoamara, Sharav Gamliel tells the coast, our Gamliel had to be Misake, the land to each and every one of them. Rabbi Shua said, you should know a story about Beperos Mechubarim Lakarka, where the fruit, Lavdavkin, it says Mechubarim means the fruit is on the ground. And therefore you give them parcels of ground with the fruit on top of it. Because if it was in a vessel, and let's say that vessel, even if you gave them the ground underneath the vessel, but it's like Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Shua, Rabbi Lez's vessel in the other person's house, it's not koine for him, right? Does it work? The only way to do it is either to designate the land underneath it, or if you want want to do otherwise, you just designate that somebody no, that's all you can do. And maybe you can designate the vase. I don't know the container, but basically what it means is that. No, I'm wrong. The second way I said it's correct. That if it's in a container, you have to specify that the container goes along with the Trumas Ma'aser. Actually, Sayim means if it's in a container on the ground and you're being makneh, piggybacking on the ground, so you also have to piggyback the container explicitly, because otherwise the piggyback is, so to speak, a half sake. Not a true half sake, but it's interruption between the ground and the fruit, and the sale wouldn't not be a valid sale. Okay, we got our 2 blot done for tonight.